classes to tell you about being offered for students and adults at the Museum of Fulton County, and we're getting a preview this morning with Doris and Lindsay Piercefield. Mother-daughter?
Mother-in-law. Daughter-in-law.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go. That's wonderful. See? Breaking all stereotypes. I have I have a great mother-in-law too.
There you go. Wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. Same. So what is the, what is the craft? Tell us about
Well,
what's
let me
happening.
tell you about our classes and what we've got going. For a couple of years, we've been trying to come up with a program as a way to bring more students into our museum and use that as a focus. So our first focus group is on homeschooled families.
Okay.
So that's why it's on Thursdays during the day. And what Lindsay does, she just recently moved back from Los Angeles, and she worked for an academy out there, and she expressed an interest in wanting to work with our museum. So she takes them into the museum, does a history lesson, and then bases her art class upon what they've learned in the museum on that day. So not only is it you're learning creative ways of having all this sink in, but she's getting new families into the museum, which is exactly what we wanted.
It's a living place to be. It's not, you talk about history or whatever, but it's like the best museums are living, and you're in it, and you're like seeing the history, but being a part of it. Right?
Yes, yes,
Awesome.
yes. So that's what that's what the whole program is about.
Wonderful. And so now you've got a little demonstration here. I'm a hopeful artist, but I'm usually pretty bad at it.
Pretty simple, pretty simple. It's just kind of to show that this can be for any ages, and we are opening it up to go as young as preschool. And so this is kind of a nice little, so we did a little project about just the Ohio biome, specifically Northwest Ohio, and talking about the Great Black Swamp and the dense forest and what,
that was your inspiration?
Yes, and so I did a watercolor painting right here, right over there. That was for the older group, and so you can really pay attention to like what you see when you drive down the road. It's not just flat lands. There's a purpose. We're special here.
Right.
And then this is one that my 4-year-old did, where
the pressure feels really intense now. Okay.
And so it's just letting them play with the paint, and half of just art is exploring and playing and all of that. And so here's a nice little simple one. It's the same concept, but this one's a little bit more abstract, I guess you can say, where it has, I did some of my own playing around. So this can be called our background.
Okay.
And then we have our foreground, and so you can glue your foreground preferably at the bottom. So that would be the grass, and so we have the background.
This is where you come into play.
Nice little.
Is the glue open?
Okay. Well, small things like that for me, right? Okay, so, and this is the kind of thing that the kids will be able to do?
Well, they do all kinds of stuff. I'm going to jump in. So it just depends on what Lindsay is working from in the museum. Like last Thursday, we have a exhibit going called We the People. And it's all about the families of Fulton County and the countries that they directly immigrated from.
Oh, I love that.
And so she's choosing a country each month to feature. And last Thursday, she did Mexico. And the children made flags. Now, you want to tell them where to go next?
So the whole idea is that those are the trees, and so they're very simple shapes. And so if you want to, every time I think about Ohio, I think about that nice tree line in the distance. So if you want to have any way you want,
take it.
But but just like these very simple shapes. Fun colors, kind of watercolor all over the place, and texture. But it opens up a conversation to say like, okay, color relationships and texture and line and perspective, where the bigger objects are closer to you and the smaller objects are further away from you, where it's just this, we're still talking about the same idea and bringing in the museum, but more play art and opening up those.
Love it. Now you were
words.
saying, so we took to kind of the history of who settled in the county.
Correct. That is our We the People, and like I said, it's all about the immigrants and the families of Fulton County and the countries they directly immigrated from.
So you did Mexico. What's next?
Switzerland will be next month.
Okay.
So then that's what we call our special exhibits, and then we have a timeline at the museum that starts with the prehistoric history, and that's where like the landscaping came in, and it goes from that to Native Americans, early settlers. So you can see one of the classes that Lindsay did was on the Native Americans.
Oh, this is so
And
neat.
so she actually had the students carve out of ivory soap arrowheads.
I love that.
And then painted them. And so we also have a train exhibit going right now, and that's going to be coming up. And what she did, one on the trains with the perspective of how the trains look when they are going away from us and coming toward us. It is just amazing the classes that she's coming up with.
And again, this is the Fulton County Museum.
Yes.
Go to the website
Yes.
for all of
Yes.
the details. Eric,
Right.
I think even in this amount of time, art happened.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's fantastic. Well done. After the break, gearing up for a whole new day of fun, we'll be back with a preview of tomorrow in just 2 minutes.